Hey, this is Brent Leary, and that is not Paul Greenberg, by the way. That's John Reed, aka the Brohammer, and we are
Yep.
doing a watch party for Genesys Experience 25 here in the Gaylord Center in Nashville. I think they call it Opryland or something like that. I don't know, but what's going on, man?
How you doing, man? Looks like a nice, lovely Nashville location for you. Old school country Nashville. Yeah, right.
Hey, anything beats Vegas or Orlando at this point, so I'll take it.
Are you ready, Brent, for AI in the experience economy?
I'm trying to gear myself up for how many times we will hear the term agentic and AI because you know it's coming. But I'm actually looking forward to this one because there's so much going on in the contact center. I mean, we just had Vernt get bought by Thoma Bravo. We had Nice by Cognigy. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but and then of course here with Xperence, they announced a $1.5 billion joint investment between ServiceNow and Salesforce. So there's something going on in this space, man.
What the hell is going on with the contact center, Brent? Come on.
Is it a little? Do you think it's like about time, or is it really late? Because there's so much interaction and engagement and information that's been stored up in all these contact center platforms. Why is it now? Do you think that it's just getting recognized for all that data?
You know, that's a good question. I mean, I think to some effect, I think we can kind of blame this on AI, right? Where AI has really forced companies' hands when it comes to the data that they own and control and have access to. And, you know, what really makes a difference in enterprise AI is having unique, relevant data. And this generation of AI is highly, highly dependent on data to resemble what we might call some form of intelligence. And so there's a natural binge that occurs. I think the challenge is, and the question I would have is to serve your customer in that holistic way that all customers crave. Is call center data really going to do the trick? That's what I'm interested in, because I think a lot of the most important data about me and brands is stuff you're going to find when I go on a rant on X or, you know, maybe even something I'm messaging friends about. Like, so I think it's interesting, but I would argue that it's all about the AI data imperative that's driving all of this.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put up the pre-game show and keep it muted and just keep an eye on when it actually gets started. But
Hi, Amber.
yeah, let me shout out my buddy Amber. She's a trooper. She's with me with all the different shows, and of course with the cold one, the bold one, John Cold Rice Lice. That's how I actually got a chance to meet Amber. So I gotta
nice.
I gotta give him props for that. But that's all the props I'm giving him today. That's
Okay. All right. Yeah.
all right. So yeah, we're just hanging tight, waiting for the opening keynote for Experience 25 to kick off. I'm actually going to be getting a chance to talk to Peter Graff, who's the one speaking now. He's had so many different roles with these folks, like a chief strategy officer, and going back and forth. He's had a great conversation about the 5 phases of orchestration last year with him. So I'm looking forward to talk with him a little later today. But the show is supposed to kick off in about 2 minutes. Let me get your ideas. What are you looking for in this particular conversation here?
Well, I think obviously that vision of what's next for agentic AI is sort of inevitable. And we're going to have to hear that. And I think we do need to hear it. And obviously we're really curious about Salesforce and ServiceNow and this whole, you know, kind of frenemies thing and how it all fits together, right? But I'm also going to just be listening. I'm going to try to put myself a little bit in the shoes of an old school Genesys customer too, and think about what does all this change mean for me, and how are you going to kind of help me get there? Because, you know, it's that challenge opportunity mix, right? There's tons of opportunity, but tons of serious challenges that companies are facing too. And if I'm a customer, I'm looking for partners that are going to help me through that. So I'll be interested to kind of hear how you balance the forward stuff with the straight talk that people want to hear right now, you know?
Yeah, I know people are interested in like what happens with the ServiceNow Salesforce. Is it a triumvirate? Because I don't know if I've seen one of these lately where like two like you said, kind of frenemies invest at the same time, or makes the announcement is made at the same time into this one company. But it does show you the sweet spot the contact center platforms are in right now. They're like, who would have thought they would have been the darlings of the current times? But like,
Yeah.
it's about the data. And I remember a couple of years ago, we were talking, when all the AI talk still was catching on. And I think we actually did one of those great debate episodes. And I remember Cheryl Kingstone saying, yeah, this all this AI stuff is great, but it's still all about the data. And when you see the moves that are taking place, that kind of, backs up what she was saying.
Yeah. I mean, this is really what we're seeing, a big fork in the road right now, where the big AI companies are going through some bubble effects, but enterprise is full speed ahead. And the difference is this targeted data and applying this to people's real life situations. And it doesn't fix all the problems that AI has, but it makes AI a lot more effective. And so that's why all the fuss. So
it looks like they're getting ready to go live. So
yeah, man, I'm starting to feel that energy, man. Are we going to get like a live marching band or something? I mean,
gosh. We had that somewhere. Let me turn up the crank up the sound and let's get into it.
Your stop world demands the next level of experience. Genesys, AI for the experience economy.
Please welcome stage Tony Bates.
Wow. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. And really, welcome to Nashville. It's absolutely incredible. We've doubled in size since last year's Xperence.
Wow.
I also want to thank everyone who's watching us online. We have almost the same amount of people watching the live stream right now.
that's us, Brent.
I want to
So there's only 2 people
by really taking us back.
We got Amber too, man. Hey, Amber. Yep.
First,
Amber, you're going to learn about some data and AI today. I think that's pretty inevitable.
What we're all struggling with. And it speaks to that unbreakable truth. The world is literally changing under our feet. As he was walking around trying to absorb all of these different things coming at him. And our job at Genesys is to really help you
already I'm liking,
help you create these
both you and I always pay attention to what's
the world isn't
we
just
also pay
changing in
attention to
terms
how
of
they're
the
presenting it.
demands that people are looking for.
And I already see about 3 or 4 different angles of shots.
We also know
really
the
like
world is
that part of
changing
it.
at a very rapid pace with technology. AI is completely reshaping the way that businesses will connect with customers.
We're happy you're here too.
And the conversation that's happening in every is how am I going to keep up everywhere? But none is how am I going to keep up? How am I going to deal with the pressures to create the best possible customer experiences for my customers and understand all of this technology that's coming at us? When I talk to CEOs and I go around the world, what I hear over and over again is they're not looking for just a point solution. What they're looking for is strategic partners who can help them transform. And I do want to put to you that this is a major transformation that we're about to embark on. I've been very lucky to work in technology for the last 30 years.
I'm going to take issue with one part of how this was framed. I agree with what he said, but I think AI is going to change the customer experience, but not necessarily for the better. And I think the fork in the road for companies is, are you going to use this as a hammer to create efficiencies, or are you going to use it to make your customers love you and your brand? And I think that's a really big fork in the road. And if I'm a company like Genesys, I'm encouraging my customers to look hard at that, because there's really 2 ways you can go with this. So let's see what they do with that during this keynote.
Yes, it's an important to point out that everybody's looking at from where it can take you positively, but it only gets you there if you do certain things. A lot of these folks are not really discussing that as much as probably should.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some major announcements the last couple of weeks about a bunch of call center people getting fired from certain companies and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that you should never let anyone go, but it shows you there's a big fork in the road between, I saw one executive saying, well, our customer satisfaction scores haven't been hurt by this. And I was like, well,
Right off,
But there's
what kind
more
of
to it than
payout you're gonna get,
just
how is it gonna
treading
affect
water here.
you going
Yeah.
no
Like
claim
the
zone?
idea is, do you want to be an
Sometimes you have
exceptional
an appearance
company?
process.
And do you want to use this
It's a
technology to
major
make you
emotional
exceptional,
decision.
or do you just want to use it to be a
Any part,
ruthless,
any part of
efficient
this journey,
company? And that's a
it's
big,
tough,
big choice, because you
feels
can use this
slow, or there's
technology for either
friction, or there's tension.
approach.
It's not
Anyway,
just
let's
a
find out
delay
if
in
how they land on this during the
breakdown
keynote. That'll be
in
interesting.
trust
Yep.
that you as business owners have with your customer. Customers don't remember that form they filled out. They don't remember even who they talked to on the phone. They just
He's right
remember
about that.
how they felt.
I never do.
That's what they remember. And we all know if that experience, if it fails in any way along this complex journey, the likelihood that that customer moves away to another provider is very, very high. That's what's at stake. That's where we are today. That's what the experience economy is about. That's the experience economy in action. It's no longer about processing the claim. It's about creating trust. It's about creating loyalty. It's about honoring that contract that you as business owners have with your customers. Now, I use the insurance industry and the car insurance industry, but we know this is happening across every industry. End customers, are now measuring you not just across your industry, but across every industry. In fact, they're now measuring you
Yeah, I
across
think
the
that
best experience
Amber.
they
Yeah,
may have ever had
I don't want them to
anywhere,
completely replace them.
anywhere
I want them to
around the world.
enhance what
They're looking for
humans do,
three simple things.
as opposed. I know
We know
there's
this, but
going to
it's
be some
worth
replacement,
restating, right?
but they got to
They
make
want
sure they
you to solve their
remain
problem.
keep the
They don't
humanity
want their time
inside of
wasted,
the
and they
office.
want to
Don't
be
let
treated
AI
right.
kind of take
They
away
want to be
that.
treated with
And I think that's the challenge that a lot of
They
these
want
companies
you
are
to be
going to have.
emotionally intelligent
Yeah, they get
in the way
kind
that
of
you work
I don't
with
know
them,
if the right word
conversations,
is
calls with them.
attracted so heavily to the potential of
Yeah.
AI cutting
Don't
headcount,
do this.
because I'm
We all
seeing
know it.
some
The
CEOs
customers will
talk
find
about,
better
hey, we're
options.
able to
They
cut
will.
heads, and that sounds
So I
terrible.
want to put it to you.
They better figure out a way to
The
not only
stakes have never been higher. All
create
of
this
us.
technology, but
That
also
includes
talk about it and
Genesys.
how it can
We have
be
to
used from a
continue
humane
to
point
make
of view,
sure we have the
even
right
when it comes to
capabilities,
maybe
the right
some form
systems
of
to
lower headcount.
create
But you
customer
can't be
lifetime
talking about it
value,
like, oh,
create
oh,
that
it's great.
trust,
I don't
create
have
that
as many
loyalty.
heads to worry about anymore. That's a
And
terrible
that's
way to
actually
talk.
why we're here. And that's why I appreciate
100%.
so
And I
many
agree
of
with
you
Amber.
taking your
And
time, your
like, I think
precious
you're going to
time to
see
be with
smart
us,
companies figure out
both
how to
in the
do
room
this. It
and
comes
streaming
back to what your
online.
goal is. If your
Because I
goal is to
know that
create
you all
exceptional customer
understand how
experiences, then you can
important
walk
the
it back
experience
from there
economy is.
and
But it
figure out
also
how to
requires us
interact
to
with
think
the tech
very, very
and the
differently.
people and make it
And
all
what I
work.
love about
You
this
know, so
journey,
it depends on what your
you don't just
priorities
get to
are,
hear from
but
Genesys,
you can do it the
but
right
you
way
also get to hear from some
or not.
incredible
And we're about to
organizations.
find out.
Organizations like these up here, and many, many of the organizations will tell you their stories,
There is one
their
piece of good
transformation.
news, which is
Some
today's
in the
AI
keynotes and
is
some
not
in the
sophisticated
breakouts.
enough to
We really
handle
do
a
want to
lot
thank
of
you
what
from the bottom of our
service
hearts.
reps
You take your
need to
time
do with
to tell
more
some of these
advanced
incredible stories. So
issues.
thank you very much for
So
doing that.
even the
It really
CEOs
means
that
a
are
lot
laying
to
people
us.
off admit that they're still keeping a bunch of people too. So,
And what's
you know, it's
amazing
not like it's
about
going to
these
lay
companies,
waste to
they're
everything.
from
You're
every
talking more
single
about
industry,
first
and they're
level
all around the
support
globe. So
people.
this is a phenomena that
Yeah,
isn't just happening here in North
and and
America. This
and
is
in some
happening
ways
all
that's
across
good,
the
because that
business.
would free up
Now,
people to
why
handle
is
the
this
more
happening? Well, I
complexity
think we
as
all
opposed
know.
Well,
to.
and like I said, that's
We all
what the
know
smart
that
companies,
this
in my
incredible
opinion, are
technology
doing. And I've
started to
documented
just
this in
come
case
along.
studies on my site
And it
where,
started off
you know,
kind
they're
of slow, right?
reallocating that towards VIP service and
Up pace.
advanced
Like, oh
relationships
my
and
God,
upselling and
challenge,
all of that
really.
stuff to
It
make
went
better
from
experiences
conception
possible, which
to
is why we're here today at Genesys. So let's find out.
conversation. And then something really magical happened, right? With generative AI, we got to a moment where you could start to think about creating some of these incredible experiences that you all want to deliver to your customers. But just when we got to generative AI, just when we got there, and we all took a breath and tried to understand what was going on, how this was going to affect our business, whether we were as an employee or towards our customer, we're now at the next giant leap. We're at agentic AI. Agentic AI is going to be huge.
Predictive, engage, create.
Because what it does is it moves the way we think about the business from automation, which was primarily for efficiency, to really being able to start to think about orchestration for experience. If there's one thing you take away today, it's to start to think about the experiences that you deliver to your customer. Now, what I want to help you understand is it's time to get ready, right? It's time for all of us to embrace the future and hopefully with Genesys help accelerate that future for you so you can deliver these
Yeah, I
amazing
agree with you,
experiences
Amber.
for your customers.
Particularly about the prevent burnout
Now, I got to tell you, we
employees, and
saw this
also
moment
maybe
coming.
also give them a little
I
bit
came to
more
my first
sense
experience in
of
2019. And we've been on a
because I think a
deliberate
lot of employees
multi-year
right now are
evolution at
caught between
Genesys
the
so
I
that we
don't
can
want to
help
use
you
it because I
succeed.
don't want to give it any more
We have a
things that
mission.
could fire me,
This mission's been unwavering.
and I do use
It's
it.
here.
And if I use
It's
it
to
too much,
orchestrate the world's
then they won't
best
need me eventually,
AI-powered
and I'll get
experiences
fired
on
anyway. So
the
I think there's an
strategic
opportunity
platform
to figure
for
out
the
how to make
experience economy.
employees
Live
feel a little
life.
bit more comfort with using AI, and that it won't
We hope this
necessarily
mission resonates with you
cost them
because
their
this is what we
job.
focus on
I don't know.
every single day.
There's some
at the
tough
company.
balancing acts to
This
follow
is
here.
what we're
So,
obsessed about.
see.
I loved what you said, Brent, where you
This
were
is,
like
I think,
on our show the other day,
really
you were
change
like,
not just
I'm scared to use it, I'm scared not to use it.
how you can generate revenue.
You
I'm
know,
sure
it's
there's
like,
a lot of people that
You in
are
the
like that
audience,
because
you out there, can be in the
but
driver's
Amber speaks again to my
vision
point,
will
which is if you want
drive
to
back to your
figure out, I think you have to do your identity work and
So,
figure out what kind of company you want to be, how you're going
AI
to serve your
orchestration
customers, and how you're going to
initially
treat your
is great,
employees.
but what does
And
it mean?
if
What does it
if
mean
you're
to
not careful,
orchestrate
what you end up
experiences
doing with your employees is
with
make them
AI?
so stressed out about
Well, I want to
eventually
put to
being
you, it's not
replaced
one thing.
that they're constantly looking over their
It's
shoulder,
really about
and
having
whether or not
a
they're using the
coordinated
tools
system of
effectively or
capabilities
not, that's not a good
empowering
vibe. And that vibe
all at
does
once,
reflect on the customer
all at the
experience
same
that
time.
we're talking about here
Sure,
today. So
definitely about
I think you
automation.
really have
There's
to
no
to
question,
be
and that's
clear
where
about
most
that and let people
organizations
know
start.
that you're not looking
Definitely
to ship
helps
them out at your first
using
opportunity,
AI
but
to
you're looking to
reduce
help
effort
them
and
grow
increase
with this
speed
technology. And if you do
and
that,
absolute
I think you
progress.
can have a real
But I
win,
want to put it
you
to you
know.
that it's not enough, not by a long way.
I think
But not many
You need to
companies
also
are
think
doing
about
that. Not many
augmentation.
companies are on that road.
Augmentation is
yeah,
tools and capabilities
I
that
think
elevates
Genesis
an
has
employee, makes them better at their
their
job.
emphasis
It
on
helps
what
with
he's talking
customer
about now about
performance.
using AI to
This
power
is how
orchestration. Now, I think
you can
that's a
scale that
great
human touch.
use
You
case, a
empower the
bunch of use
people
cases
where
for
they're
AI.
strongest,
How does it
and you let
help
AI
with
support them every
orchestration?
single
How
where
can it
else.
help with automation
Empower the people where they're
and process
strongest,
flow?
let AI support them everywhere else. But we also know from that opening
Yeah, there's a
video
couple really
that
big
it's about
things. Like one
personalization.
is if you want to provide a better
That's
customer
what
experience,
customers are
AI
looking
can be
for.
really good with
Now,
unstructured
what's great with
information,
AI, when AI is good
like
before,
I said, like
AI
things
can
like
actually
chats
adapt
and
that
stuff, and like
experience in
pulling
real
data from
time.
there. So that's
It can start
great.
to understand
And it
context,
can also
start
be
to
really good
understand
for figuring
emotions
out
brain,
like
understand
missteps.
your
So
preferences,
like think quality
and
assurance,
actually giving
like
the
scrolling the
experience
queue and
that
saying,
you're
"Hey,
looking
the
for,
service rep
your
hasn't called this
context,
customer
in the
back
way
yet
that
in
you
4
want it.
days," and like kind of surfacing things. It's really
This
good at
is
that
where
QA stuff.
empathy meets intelligence.
Yeah,
We have been talking about the power of
but
empathy as a
also
force multiplier for many, many years.
allowing an
With
agent to make
personalization,
the
the
final
capabilities
call
that
or
you're
a manager to
simulating,
make the final
Right.
call as
this is
opposed to doing
when
it
you
all
really
themselves.
start to change the game.
Yeah,
Now,
bingo.
last but not least, it's also about optimization. You have to continuously improve your system. And you need an AI not just to react, it needs to learn, it needs to be continuous, improving for better and better outcomes. And what's really important, and I said this earlier on when I talked to CEOs, you can't look at these in isolation anymore.
Yeah.
You can't just build an automation tool and then maybe think about a different augmentation tool and maybe something for personalization and then have a journey management tool that's separate. They have to work together.
He's right
And they're
about that.
isolated features.
Yep, absolutely.
They're compounding capabilities, each reinforcing the next, each working in harmony. That's what we think about Genesys every day. That's the system that we built with Genesys Cloud. And I hope you get to see a lot more of these capabilities when Olivier comes on the stage. Now, this is a big T transformation that we're talking about. And with any great transformation, I think you need a strategy. You need to really understand where you are today, where Genesys is, and what you want to do and how you get there. So last year, many of you were here, and thank you again for being repeats and coming to see us again. We introduced the levels of experience orchestration.
Yep.
Think of it as a maturity model. And we got tons of great feedback about how well it works because it helps you.
I got a great like 5-minute video with that guy, Peter Graff,
from kind of a
breaking down
reactive
those
and
5
rigid
levels.
kind of
It was
approach
really good.
to an orchestrated and intelligent approach. And so I want to walk through that just very briefly again, especially for folks who didn't get to see it.
I love
last year.
maturity models, man.
It's very, very
I always say
important
if you don't
that
find
we
maturity
start
models sexy,
building
you're
our
in the
products
wrong
and
line
our
of work.
solutions, but also
All right,
our
dude, I'm in the wrong.
So
Come on, man.
let's start at the very beginning.
Brent, you
Level
can't look
0.
back now, man.
Actually, it wasn't very many years ago.
You're a lifer now, man. You got to love these things.
Manual, no
This, come on,
automation,
man. This
very
is
little
sexy stuff
integration,
right
anything,
here.
and certainly no
Orchestration.
I love this
suffers,
stuff. I love this stuff because it shows customers
Amazing
exactly
things.
where they need to
That's
think
level
about
one.
heading. I think
Well, that's
I
true.
love it.
That's true.
We've got keypad
Customers
prompts,
don't
we've got
just
simple
need the
voice
platforms
commands.
and the tools; they need the
Let's face
direction. And you're right
the
about it.
customer was still doing
100%,
almost
man.
all of the work.
All I would say is that eventually you need them by industry
Yeah,
because
maybe you had an
every
agent
industry's
screen
got some
part,
different
basic
characteristics,
info,
but you
but there
start
was
with your
no
general
real
one.
coordinated, orchestrated support.
Yeah,
It's definitely
yeah, I
more
agree.
efficient than level 0. Definitely gave you
It's not the
a
love
little
of
bit
my life, though.
but
You
let's
know,
be honest.
Well,
Let's
I'm not
be
saying
honest.
I look forward to curling up on a Friday night with my maturity model. I'm not saying that.
Strictly voice only.
on those hot nights.
Then we moved to level 2.
Yeah,
Level 2 was great.
but come on.
Introduced bots, you had omnichannel automation, had some agent assist, maybe you had some predictive routing.
You know, so far,
It was smarter.
this is he's doing a nice job. It's timed nicely. It's
It was
flowing.
still
It doesn't feel like
predefined
it's
paths. You were trying to understand
getting
what your
dropped down
customer
on
needed.
anything. He's doing
They
a good
didn't
job.
really know what they wanted.
But Brent, it gets better because
No.
if you really want to go for it as a vendor, you take this maturity
Level 1
model,
and
you
level
bake it
2
into
are
your
about
software,
basically
and you
built
use
that
AI to
service
ping
system,
people
right?
and show them
When
where they're
it's
excelling
how
versus
you
the
have to
model and
deliver
where they're not.
hits in
Oh
that
yeah.
And it becomes
weren't
this
built what people
living
think
framework,
today.
not
People
just like a
want
white
that
paper that you check out with your
emotionally
leadership
intelligent
team. And
customer
that to me is the future of
that
this.
reacts in real
And I
time.
think a lot of vendors,
So that's why it's really
and
time.
I'm speaking generally here. I'm not speaking about anyone.
It's time.
They
to move
really
up,
think more
level up.
about selling
Now with
the
level 3,
software, the
this
platform,
is where we started
which
to
is
see
of course
generative AI
important.
for the first
But
time in
that
action.
methodology
Now AI is really
and those
helping you
models
create that content in
are
real
the
time.
things that
We introduced
really
virtual
make
agents that
the
can actually start to go a
platform
little bit off script,
meet
right?
the
These
expectations
agents
of
and
customers.
supervisors
A lot of times, if
have
you just give them a
co-pilot
platform
generated
or just
summaries that
give them
you
access
next
to a
best action.
platform, they don't know what to do with it.
But
So you're
still,
right.
Right.
They need those kind of
with
models
AI,
and all those
executed
things
for predefined
in order to get the
outcomes
most
you've
out of the
created in your
platform.
business. So whilst it was
Yeah.
great, it's not
I
where
heard
we
from
need
one
to go.
customer, I won't name the
Where we need to
vendor
go,
since we're on a vendor keynote,
need
but they were
to go
talking about
level
this vendor's
4.
done a good job of baking that in.
Up
And they
level.
talked about how they get kind of mad because
That's
they'd be
where
like, what do you
AI
mean I'm
for the
behind
first
on this or
time
whatever? But they were
starts to
like,
act
it provoked
semi-autonomously.
like really
Yes,
great
there's still some
conversations
human
internally
oversight.
around like,
But now
what
the
do we have
AI
to do about that?
can
And, you know, so
adapt
anyway, so I
to
think this is
really
like
mature
the
situation in real
first you
time.
flesh this
Not
out and
just
now
at
you
once.
have a starting point for all of that. So
Now,
let's see
I
where they
gotta tell
take it.
you, I'm shocked how quickly
But
we
it
got
looks like they're going to try that
This
because
has
they've got
evolved
the
at
agentic stuff
light
like built
speed.
into that model.
We
So
all knew it was
Yeah,
coming.
I
When
like
I
when
stood on the stage last
a
year,
keynote
I
like
didn't
this,
expect the Genesys
it doesn't
to
act
be
like everything
the
that came
progress
before it
that's
is
being
not
made
existent. It's all
with
about
AI
the new
is
stuff. I
absolutely
love when they're able
astonishing,
to tie what
both at
they've
an
been
industry
doing
level, but also
with
at
the new
Genesys.
stuff so that
Genesys
you
is
get a
here
sense of,
today
okay,
at level
these
4,
guys
and we're
aren't
going to
just
see some incredible
throwing stuff together every
aspects of
year.
that
They're
when the
actually
UVA comes on stage.
working through this whole
But we're not
thing
done,
year to
right?
year, which I think is really good.
We need to take it to the
indeed.
next level.
So they just walked through that
And that's level 5.
step maturity model.
That's where we start to talk about
Now they're getting to,
orchestration being fully autonomous.
yeah.
This is where AI itself will pursue the outcomes. Now you'll have virtual agents, co-pilots, and orchestrators that are actually reasoning, they're planning, and they're acting on their own, that actually collaborate across the business, across systems. I put it to you that in the future, we'll actually see some of these agents collaborating across brands. Because that's actually what we all want at the end of the day. We want
Now
incredible
you
experience
start to tweak my
that
hype
goes
meter a
across the
bit here
entire life cycle of
with the
journey
with the
market.
reasoning stuff. You
Interesting.
got to be a little careful about throwing that word
They're going to
around.
share content and they're going to share data and they're going to coordinate in real time to drive those results.
But I'm going to spare that for. I'm going to spare my
We're gonna see
reasoning
the
rant for now.
emergence of
But
virtual
I just
service
want it
experience
logged that I have
or
one
AI agents
that I can
proactively
unfurl at any
guide
point.
customers. They can
It's on the
anticipate
record,
needs. They'll
man.
deliver value
Okay,
without
cool.
any human intervention. These systems will start to learn from the outcomes. They won't wait for the humans to retrain the models. Now, I know this is bold. I know that level 5 is a bold vision, but I want to make sure you all understand this is what we're building to every single day at Genesys. This is where the industry is headed. And this is what I hope you'll all embrace as you come on that journey. Because we know, and you have so many customers who are going to share this with you, that every time you level up, you don't just level up in terms of technology, but you yield more and more value that you can deliver to your customers. But what's amazing is you're going to hear about all this incredible tools and technology, but it isn't just tools and technology that make all this happen. We also need, I think, as an industry, to go on a somewhat of a mindset shift. We need to rethink the way we've been deploying our customer experience solutions. So I want to lay out a little bit of a framework for you.
Okay.
Because you need to get ready for this. You need to embrace it. The future is right now, but we're going to have to rethink how we do it. And so I'm going to lay out 4 fundamental shifts that I'd like you to think about and take away and talk with your colleagues and maybe share with your CEO if it feels like something that resonates with you, because this is what it's going to take if we're going to realize that experience economy that I talked about earlier.
All right, 4 shifts. Let's do this.
First one is what I call the shift from applications to experiences. You know, even for me, I sit in very senior meetings with incredibly large customers, and what I hear is, well, can we get a co-pilot, or can we automate some routing? It sounds like we're talking about apps or features. But we know this. Experiences don't live inside an app. They live across the entire journey. So when you start with experiences, you deliver what people want. You deliver what I talked about earlier. You solve their problem, you don't waste them time, and you always treat them right. The next shift is metrics to outcomes.
This
industry is an incredible industry. When I joined it 7
Most
years
people
ago,
die on their
it's
metrics.
amazing. We have every type of metric and KPI you can imagine.
But I think he's right.
Handle time, first contact resolution.
Yeah, as long as you're measuring the right things, man.
Yeah.
And they are important. What they talk to you about is how the machines.
You only made 50 outgoing calls today.
Don't tell you whether the experience is working.
Call reporting systems.
And we know in the experience economy, it's going to be much more about that return on experience than anything else. You're going to have to get to the power of the and.
It's funny.
For efficiency,
when did what's his name write the experience economy book? Like 25 years ago or something like that? I can't remember.
Efficiency
definitely.
I know you're all under pressure.
In my top 5 business books of all time,
to help with that.
It might even be top 3.
Wow.
That book is everything for me. That it's weird because I never even read the entire thing, but I didn't need to. Like it was just, it just resonated so much with me. The whole concept. I kind of built my whole career on thinking about that.
Is this concept that we think about Genesys?
And he wrote that what about 25, 26 years ago?
Yeah, I'm checking on the original publication date because they did reissue it.
Very, very important concept.
I remember we had him on the show for the 20th
redefining the relationship
Yeah.
that we have between humans and
2000.
AI
Let's see. First published 1999.
26. Okay.
AI can't be
Yeah.
a
So
bolt-on.
right in the height of
They don't need bolt-ons.
the first
They need
wave of the internet economy.
things that work in harmony.
Joe Pine was Joe Pine who you talked to.
Yep.
Just
Yep.
waiting
It was
for
on our
instructions.
Joe Pine and James
AI
Gilmore. Yeah, that's
has to
awesome
become
stuff.
Your trusted
And it's so
coach,
relevant, probably
working
more so today
alongside
than
you,
it was even when you
working
wrote it.
alongside your team.
It is. I mean, back in the day when I read it, the
We'll take
problem
it right
was
away,
that it was
right?
beyond the scope of
Humans
most
there
enterprises
stepping
to
in the
achieve
entity that matters the most.
technologically speaking.
Things
And
that
now I
matter
think it's
AI,
more
AI,
within
teammate
reach,
that never
like
sleeps,
that you could actually
that never
achieve some
loses
of it.
context.
Oh,
It
wow.
worked better. It worked better for small business
and be
like
ready.
me. They could try to
It also
deliver that
helps
for the
clear all the
people I
noise
came
out
in
of the
contact
system.
with. Granted, I didn't
You,
always succeed,
humans, people in your
but
team,
when you have
focus on the
massive data at
judgment,
that time, you
complexity,
couldn't do it. But now maybe you
that
can.
real
Yeah.
customer
I'm
care,
sorry. This is
that real personalized
killing me.
customer experience.
It's been
everyone
out of
wants.
focus for the last
Now,
minute.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, there we go.
think about
He's
this.
back.
Take this to the next concept. And you start to think about AI as
Yeah,
a
no, I
teammate and not just as an add-on.
those two, I only spoke we
It
only
means that we're going to
spoke,
have human and digital labor sitting side by side.
but yeah, the
I
put
think
that
what that
down
means
when
is
they
you
did
need
it
to have
and make it so
a
relevant
unified
then
system.
and even
You
more
need to
so today.
onboard your
Yep.
people
Says a lot
and
about
AI
them.
on the same system. You need to plan in the same schedule, and you need to measure and improve your performance using the same framework. So, as you walk away, think about AI as part of one team, part of your team working in harmony together. That's how we think about it at Genesys. And I hope you start to think about it in the same way. Now, the last, but certainly not least, is this idea that I've touched on a couple of times. I think it's time for all of us to move from point solutions to platforms.
Yeah, that's been going on for a while.
AI-powered outcomes don't come from isolated tools. They come from systems that work.
And here is Genesys
I said
Play.
earlier, you want a system
It does lead right into
automate,
Genesys Cloud.
augment, personalize, and optimize.
What a coincidence. The vision of the future goes directly through our product line.
And I would put it to you that you need a platform to do
Hey,
that.
he's not wrong.
Strategic platform.
You know what? But he's saying he needs a platform. I think you also need the ecosystem, which is, I wonder when they're going to bring that in. Ah, all right, there
There's
it
no
is.
one platform to
There we
rule.
go.
All right, here we go.
No
Yep.
one platform that can be the strategic platform for all aspects of the enterprise. So at Genesys, we recognize.
I haven't seen Salesforce and ServiceNow logos so close together on a keynote stage. I don't think ever, man. I hope he doesn't get caught in the vortex.
Wait a minute. And he's going to bring out Phil Kermit and Mark. No, I'm just kidding. It's not, it ain't happening.
Salesforce and
Dude, if that
ServiceNow
happened, man, that
are
would be,
two of the most
oh my
important
God.
platforms
Talk
in
about
the world.
popcorn.
And at Genesys, they're not
Get
just
your
integration
popcorn
partners.
ready, man.
They are deep collaboration co-development partners. So much so that they are investing in Genesys. And you may have seen the recent announcement where together they committed a combined investment of $1.5 billion into Genesys. Into Genesys.
You know, I was thinking
And I
about
think what that says more than anything is that
because
Genesys
those,
is not just an
they're both
experience
public,
enabler,
companies,
says that
and
we are
Genesys went from
we are a
public back to
platform
being
of choice
private, I
for
guess.
experience orchestration.
Do you think this allows
This, to
both
me,
those
is
companies
platform
to act
alignment at
more
its
in the
highest
way that they
level.
would love to
This is
if they weren't
strategic
being
orchestration
kind of
at its
excited to do
highest
certain
level.
things by activists,
Now,
investors, and things like that?
just this morning, just before I came on stage,
Yeah, potentially. I mean, it's
we
good
made
to
a
be
major
aligned with
announcement.
companies that have
Companies
different
about it.
priorities and calls to
And
action than
that's the
you.
work that we've been doing
You
in
know,
Genesys Service
you
now.
don't want to fund someone
We
who's going to do
expanded
directly
our
the same things you
partnership
do.
to
So,
deliver what I think of as the next
Genesys may have a
frontier
little more room
of
to
AI,
push the envelope in certain areas than they do, and
agent orchestration.
it's what it's
This
all
is a
about.
co-developed breakthrough that enables AI
Really
agents
interesting
from
comment.
Genesys and ServiceNow to work together. Think about what that means. That means that we're closing all of those complex gaps between the front office systems of Genesys and the back office systems of ServiceNow. Allows us to share context, allows us to synchronize workflow and orchestrate seamless customer experiences across systems. That's level 4 orchestration happening right before your very eyes. I'm super excited about the work that the development teams have been doing and what they've been driving together. And I can't wait for you to hear more about it when Olivier comes on in just a couple more minutes. It's an amazing breakthrough, and I think it speaks wonders to the capabilities of our platform, but also the recognition of working with some of the most important.
I think what I'd like to hear is what their old school customers need to do to take advantage now of all these opportunities. And, there may not be time in this keynote for the detail on that, but if I were on the ground, that's the question I'd be asking.
Yeah, they have a
remember when I
Q&A for the media analysts,
audience. I've been in the company
Tony
I think,
Bates
about
and
6
Mike
months,
Salaji, who's their
and they said
president,
that we
or
would
chief
move
product
to a single
officer. I think.
strategic platform,
So that's coming, I
and
think,
that would be
tomorrow.
Genesys Cloud.
Cool.
We've built that platform from ground up.
I mean, I'm sure they have a
Incredible
well-thought answer to
the
that, but that's
amount
sort of,
innovation
to me,
They have.
what's hanging in the air right now.
It's always been.
And I'm kind of a little
making sure
surprised,
we
unless it's
orchestrate
still
the greatest
coming. Like
experiences for
last
our
year,
customers,
ServiceNow
employees, and
at their knowledge
way
event,
beyond the contact
they
center for our enterprise.
announced the partnership
I
with
want to leave you with 5
and
key
they
things.
had Genesys on stage
Number
with
1,
them.
we
And
built
then
a
the next
transformative ecosystem.
Genesys
You heard
had
about
their
it.
event,
Salesforce,
and they
ServiceNow.
had
It's all of our
somebody
incredible
from
app founding
ServiceNow
partners that are here
on
at the
stage
expo.
to talk about it.
It's all of our great partners and the largest
So it
system
doesn't,
integrators in the world.
maybe it's
That's
coming.
what it takes to do big T transformation that we're a big part of today. The second is AI and human teamwork. Automation where it makes sense, empathy where it matters most. Automation where it makes sense, and empathy where it matters most.
I like that.
Most importantly,
Yep.
it's about putting agentic AI at the core of everything that we do moving forward. AI has always been embedded enough in the fabric of our platform, It's always been there. And what's amazing about the architecture and what we built, we're not tied to a single foundational model. We have total flexibility. So as the AI landscape evolves, we can evolve with it. If you have some large language model that you love, we can evolve with that. If we move to small language models for use case, we have those. It's a continuous system with AI and agentic AI at the core of everything we do. We also have this incredible treasure trove of data. Right? Think about
Here it is.
Think about what we do and what we help you enable every single day. We are now processing over 2 billion real-time or near real-time conversations every single month. I don't know if there's another company on the planet with that amount of rich real-time data. And that gives us unmatched visibility to help you deliver smart orchestration and continuous learning and continuous optimization. Now, last but certainly not least, if you're going to be that strategic orchestration platform, you need to be future-proof. You need to have a platform that scales with you. Last year, we shipped over 500 new features. 500 new features. This is a platform that was built to evolve with you. It's open by definition. It's cloud native. It's architected for the
I got to
speed,
log one more
innovation that
objection
you
for the
need.
record, which is nothing personal to Genesys, but future-proof is on my list of terms that are not allowed.
Yeah, there's no way future-proof what you
I don't
don't.
believe there's any such thing.
Yeah.
So,
But what there is the ability to give customers a lot more quote unquote agility, if you want to put it that way, or adaptability to changing circumstances with more flexible deployments of business models and things like that. So in that sense, yes, but I got to flag it, Brent. Sorry, man. It's on my short list of do not use phrases along with seamless integration.
All right, quick, before they go, what are your first impressions? What do you just know?
What's that?
What are your first impressions of
Please
what you
give
got
a
from
big
Tony?
Nashville welcome to Olivier Juice.
I thought he covered a lot of the right bases in terms of framing where Genesys is headed. I mean, he checked a lot of the boxes. So, and then he got out before he overstayed his welcome. So I'd say pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good. I like keynotes from CEOs that kind of set the stage, don't
Quite
take
a
too
long
long,
stage. I
and
should probably
pass it
put
off.
my Strava on.
Yep.
If
Got
you
their
can
chief
move one
product
slide back,
officer, I believe.
please, for the notes. Good morning.
Good morning.
We are at such a thrilling moment in customer experience, and I have some very exciting things to share with you today. But first, I have one question for you. Are you ready? Are you? Wait. Wait a minute.
I don't
You
think he
don't know
got what
where
he was
you are
looking for there.
asking for.
I don't think so.
Are you ready to throw away your 10-level IVR for a virtual agent that understands customer intent, handles multiple languages, and adapts in real time?
We finally got there.
Are you ready to transform your agents into AI augmented super agents with Copilot guidance that surface knowledge and responds dynamically to conversation? Are you ready to automate the work behind the work, from user setup to queue assignment, skills management, and writing rules?
I like that. Automate the work behind the work.
Look like you're pretty much ready, right? Are you ready for AI agents to make thousands of decisions on your behalf, each one personalized, contextual, orchestrated, and compliant in real time? Are you ready for level 4? Genesys Cloud is ready. We are living through an extraordinary moment in technology, one that is reshaping how every organization engages with its customers. The agentic AI revolution is not just the next step forward, it's a seismic leap, even more transformative than the shift to the cloud that made it possible. Cloud gave us accessibility, scalability, and flexibility to modernize the contact center. But moving to the cloud was never never the destination. It was always the enabler. With agentic, we are no longer just optimizing workflows. We are enabling real-time, intelligent conversations at scale. Agents are being empowered like never before, and customers are beginning to expect not just service, but deeply personalized and proactive experiences.
No, I
This
want
is not just an
to
evolution,
talk to some
it's a
agents
reinvention
to
of
just
customer
get their
engagement.
take on, what
So when we say
they see
agentic
for them
AI,
as all
let's
this
talk about what it means.
starts coming to
It's
light.
powered by 4 essential characteristics. First, goal orientation. It operates with purpose, not just instructions. Second, contextual awareness. It understands where it is in the process. Third, autonomous action. It takes the next step without human scripting. And finally, adaptive reasoning. It deals with novelty. Let's hear that directly from ESPN.
ESPN prides itself on really making sure that we are with the fan anytime, anywhere. We work at the speed of live sport. With our previous solution, we did have issues with service, so we connected with our peers in Disney who happened to be using Genesys. Something important to both ESPN and Disney is the ability to protect the brand. It was extremely important for us to have the trusted partner with AI built through a system. So Genesys is our experience orchestration platform at ESPN. Genesys AI Studio, which is going to ultimately help us create our agentic solution, is really built for practitioners. It's a playbook to create bespoke virtual agents and create a dynamic co-pilot experience. Agentic AI empowers our care agents to do so much more than they could ever do before. Summarization is automatic. That saves a minute 30. We're seeing greater CSAT scores or Copilot of about 3.85 out of 5 to over 4.2.
Are you hearing of any new metrics that
conversational sales
that are coming on board because of this agentic stuff?
By almost 13%. Because of this success,
Well, there's a whole bunch of agentic evaluation metrics that I've written about that I think are really interesting that have to do with the quality evaluation for agentic AI performance. But vendors don't really like to talk about that because they want to pretend like agents are perfectly intelligent at all times. So I don't think we'll be getting into those today. But I haven't heard any business-oriented metrics really. But obviously you can apply this to things like increased closure of tickets or tickets without human intervention, or I prefer the more high-end metrics around better customer outcomes. So I liked, for example, that they just mentioned that the CSAT scores went up. I don't know if you picked up on that, but I thought that was a significant thing from the ESPN testimonial there, is better customer satisfaction, which is what I was railing on earlier when a vendor was saying, well, we got rid of a bunch of people and we haven't taken a hit. I'm like, it's not good enough. You got to do better. And ESPN here is saying with this technology, we can do better. And that's what I want to hear. And that's what I think you should be measuring.
Not just being able to spend less to get the same thing, but actually do better.
Yeah, and I think when you want to talk about service the way he was talking about it, I think the two big things you're looking for are, well, there's three things. You're looking for how many successful resolutions did the agent handle without human intervention? How well did it escalate to humans? And also, did it extend your service capabilities? Because keep in mind, most businesses don't have 24/7, well-trained call centers at your beck and call. So if you're having a problem at midnight on a Sunday night, and an agentic AI service bot can handle your issue, then that's awesome. Because the call center's closed. So I look at things like that, and I think we're still early days in trying to understand how that all works from a service perspective.
I remember, I can't remember where I got this stat, but I heard from one of these events, like 80% of customer interactions come to the call center, contact center, or is it
virtual
80%
supervisor
are
on
resolved
Salesforce,
there? One of those. But
all
it just goes to
conversations
talk about
can be scored
as
by
more
AI
channels come
into
on
each
board,
supervisor's native
they're
language.
still going towards some
More
sort
than
of a
120
need to
of
get
you
service
have
or a
already
need to get something
operationalized it
done.
with 94%
So they're always going to end
average
up coming through this
accuracy.
contact center, and
Right.
it just
Second
astounds
is
me that it
augmentation.
took.
Augmentation is about
It feels like it took
empowering
just to
agents,
this year or two, the last
supervisors,
year or
and
two,
admins with
for
real-time
these
copilots.
kind of large
Augmentation has been a
enterprise tech
leading use
companies to
case and
understand
one that
that
Cognigy has
importance of
tackled
that
head on.
information
Yeah.
Let's hear directly from
make some of these moves that we're starting to see.
Yeah, exactly.
Engie is a global company and energy retailer, and we look after both residential and small business customers.
The challenges we've previously had is disaggregated workforce management solutions. We want to remove the burden of administrative tasks from our agents and allow them to focus on servicing the customer. With Agent Copilot, the main outcome is for us
So
to
here we go.
empower
This is
our
what we were
agents.
talking about.
What we've really seen
Help them to serve their
is
customers better.
consistency, to have all of the interaction recorded and documented and summarized. It only took a matter of weeks to deliver a consistent result. With the Genesys Supervisor Copilot, where we've been really focused on quality assurance, the accuracy is quite incredible. We've seen significant results almost immediately. We've actually seen a 40% reduction in manual effort and an improvement of nearly 75%.
That's the double
in
bang you're
customer
looking for
NPS
right
and
there.
a reduction of complaints, nearly 120%.
Genesys success team partnered
Right.
so well with us from the very start.
That allows us to have the trust in Genesys as a partner to deliver what we need for our customers. And that's something that is to be celebrated.
That is how you turn your agents into super agents. Like Kenji, many of you are doing this.
Do you like
at
this
scale.
approach,
Agent
like,
Copilot now
instead of
generates
bringing customers on
17.6 million
the stage to tell their
monthly
story, just
automated
having these quick
summaries.
hits,
That's
kind of
490%
illustrated by the
year-over-year
vendor,
growth.
but quick
And
vignette
4.7
kind of.
million
I like
market
the
in July
thing,
alone.
actually.
If I had my wish, I would like a combination.
Yeah.
Because what I like is to see some quick ones like that, and then I usually like to hear one that's a little more detailed, but on stage, but only if they get into the hard parts, like the challenges and the change. Otherwise, I don't want the customer on stage because I don't want to hear a commercial.
Truly best-in-class
Right.
customer experience by the most
Well,
efficient means possible.
Because you're not going to capture the challenges very well in a video. The videos are better for these kind of quick portraits.
To use
Yeah.
10 different programs while also
You're right.
retaining all
I
of the
think
knowledge as a
a
strategic
little deeper
platform.
dive on
Genesys
stage
had
with the
exactly
right
what we were looking for. One thing
customer
we really love about
representative
the virtual agents
kind of
that we
walk
deployed
through some
is
of the
that they really
meat.
understand their customers.
Right.
Because you don't want them to kind of go all over the place. You do want
Yeah,
them
you
to-
walk them through the whole process. It works really well, but I think it's nice to surround that with these shorter clips that give you a broader landscape of what's going on, and also the quantification of like their stuff they're showing here.
And operating costs.
These are good numbers, and they work really well in videos because you got to get all the legal out there and approve all of that and get all that done ahead of time. Roll it in a video.
With Genesys, we're able to make business decisions that truly drive a better customer experience.
One point I really liked in one of the last videos was talking about how not only better results, but that's building more trust with Genesys for the future. I really like that point.
Yeah. I think
That is amazing.
trust for the future is
and
one of the things
powerful.
that is
It has
completely
definitely
underrepresented in
increased
a lot of stuff.
satisfaction and lowered
Yeah.
attrition, one of the biggest challenges facing our industry today. As automation evolves into autonomy, humans are still the champions of compassion and empathy. We're empowering them with the right tools to decide what to delegate to AI, when to step in, and how to guide that partnership. At Genesys, humans will always remain at the center of the AI story.
I like that. Amber's comment kind of ties into that.
Tailoring every experience dynamically, contextually, and in the moment. A static customer data platform, CDP, doesn't deliver true personalization. We
Yeah.
need to capture
And that's where you
emotional
need the
impact
proper
in real
escalation,
time.
right? And that's
That is why we
like when
built
you're getting the
and
wrong info, that's
a
when you got to be able to
real-time
say,
data platform,
give me a
powering
human. And
leading
what's getting bad
connect
sometimes is some
more.
companies built that up now where you just can't do it, or you can't figure out how to do it. And that's the wrong approach. And that's what we're hearing about now on stage, is like keep the human in the middle of that is really important.
Well, sometimes it feels like these companies are implementing some of these technologies, not really thinking about it from the customer perspective. They're just thinking about, oh, this is a good way to cut down costs or be a little bit more efficient, which is good for them mostly. But if it impacts the customer, like you were saying, if not at all or somewhat negatively, then are you really using this stuff the way it should be used?
Right.
And in July 25,
and there's a really interesting difference between B2B and B2C here, because like in B2C, sometimes people just cynically accept the collateral damage of some unhappy customers as long as, but in B2B, what if that unhappy customer is one of your biggest clients?
Yeah.
You know, and you piss them off because you quoted them the wrong balance on the invoice and they couldn't get to a human. That's not what you want.
Productivity by 89% with predictive routing, delivering a 37% reduction in cost per
There's things
contact.
like that in B2C too, like VIP customers and stuff like that. But the point is, you got to think about not just the percentages, but who's comprised in those percentages, right? Because if you're alienating the wrong people, it doesn't matter if the rest of it gets better.
Getting insights to understand why customers come to you.
Looks like Amber got alienated by her utilities company.
More meaningful experience.
Unfortunately, in the case of utilities, we often have no choice and no options. So.
Yeah, you have to do what they go with. Yeah.
That AI, and in particular agentic AI, are delivering value every day. Now, to make agentic possible, Genesys engineered a framework designed specifically for real-time orchestration. Action begins in the execution layer, built for reasoning, planning, and memory, enabling AI to work alongside agents or operate independently. Powering the decision logic is the intelligence layer, where intent is understood, knowledge surfaced, and next action generated. It comes to life through two foundational components managed by our recently launched AI Studio. First, AI guides, natural language prompts that shape AI behavior, applying logic, structure, and policy in a form LLM can understand. Second, AI skill, which is coming very soon, are modular agents that pair with guides to execute tasks, complete workflows, and orchestrate multi-steps journeys. But intelligence alone is not enough. Autonomy requires accountability. The trust layer ensures your AI doesn't just act. It acts transparently, responsibly, and in alignment with your business. It monitors behavior in real time, triggers alerts.
They partner with companies like Salesforce and
logs
now,
every decision for audit.
You know, we've known Salesforce has been talking about their trust layer for a couple of years now. I wonder if these investments also will lead to sharing of some of the areas of technology around like the trust layer. Like, be something that Genesys kind of adopts some of the stuff they do, or just curious to see how much the partnership goes and how deep it goes.
And when escalation is necessary. And it enforces fairness and privacy standards that adapt to regional rules and minimize bias. So, you want to know how all that works? Come back.
One of our colleagues, Thomas Weber, and I wrote a blog post about some of these acquisitions.
It's what we call an agentic.
And he talked about the need. There's going to be this need for integration between Genesys and Salesforce and Genesys and ServiceNow to make all this possible. And I agree to a point, but in the agentic world, I would rather see them do this based on the standards that are being developed, things like MCP and A2A, MCP being an Anthropic standard and A2A, and here we go.
Man,
So now,
just on cue, right?
Yeah, the second time
there's
they've
no
done that.
shortage of impressive
because
AI tools.
because like that's where it's going to help
Welcome
everyone,
all
because
the
that gets
banks
back to
who
your
are open
ecosystem point.
platform and public
We don't
APIs.
want like another error and point-to-point
Tools alone
integration,
won't
because that's just a
transform
chore.
banks.
It's got to be
Our
about this
ecosystem
robust
does.
set of standards that makes it
Standalone AI
easy
can
to
deliver powerful
combine these
capabilities
workflows, and
in
if you
human
can't do
isolation.
that, it's kind of a deal
Back to
breaker.
your
So
teams.
it looks like they want to build
Stand
around
your
those
workflows.
standards, and that would be the way to
Connect them
do it.
to your routing logic and monitor
At least
them
for
for
now, it
compliance
seems like
and
it,
outcomes.
until,
Genesys
you know,
takes a
because of the
different
different
approach.
kind of
We
expertise they
embed
may have
best-of-breed AI into a
from, you know, certain
best-of-suite
industries.
platform. So intelligence
I'm
doesn't
guessing some of them are going to take a shot of
works
trying to
where it
formulate
matters,
and push their own
and it's delivered.
kind of thing forward,
Over
as
the
opposed
last
to,
year, we
you know,
shipped more than
everybody's got to
150
take a
new
shot at
AI
some point, it feels
features,
like.
including AI Studio
I
and
don't
Yeah.
think that's for the best.
driven
It
by
might
a
be for
team
their
of
best. I
over
don't know.
350
Yeah, it
AI
feels like so far it's been
practitioners
pretty
focused
encouraging, like
exclusively on AI
the
innovation.
people signing on to the same protocols. But you're right, there's always going to be a rogue player. Amber likes that we're doing this because
Oh, wow.
persevering humanity and trust. No, Amber, I totally agree. It's not as simple as some influencers make it out to be. There's, like I'm saying, I mean, it's an
That's a
oversimplification,
good
but there's
number.
two roads you can take here. There's kind of a race to the
Today, more
bottom
than
of ruthless efficiency, and there's a
65% of Genesys
more
customers
human-centric, life-affirming way to do
are
this.
using at
And
least one
I think that
Genesys AI
Genesis is
powered.
leaning towards human in the center kind of
Behind the
vibe, but
scenes, we are
I do
running over
push vendors on this topic because they have to
models in
recognize that their
production,
customers
train,
are not always going to
manipulate,
go the
and judgment
direction
challenge
they would want them
continuously.
to with their technology.
And we don't
And
believe a
I
single
don't
model
think
can
that a
do it
vendor
all.
can tell a
And we are not
customer
going
how to
that
use
way.
your
We
technology
combine
for you
proprietary
can't impose
models,
values on your
open source
customers. But what you
models,
can
and
do
senior model,
is you can
including large
highlight the great
language
examples
models.
from your
And
customer
starting next
base
quarter,
of
yes,
people who are
we
going
are
about it
all
in the right
model.
way. And I think we saw a little bit of
For
that during
every
some of
use
the video
case,
clips, so
we
that
offer
was
the
encouraging
right
to see.
model
Yep.
for the right task without latency at the right cost. It's your insurance policy for smarter AI without compromise. So our AI doesn't live outside your systems because our platform is unified by design. Genesys AI launches,
Kind of
learns,
ironic
and
that
innovates faster
this
with
conference is
fewer
going on at the same
dependencies
time
and
as
integrations.
the
Acts
Vernt conference.
faster with
You know,
native access to routing,
'cause I'm
profiles,
guessing
and
there's a lot of
workflows,
the same kind
and
of things and
orchestrates
topics
and
are
governs
probably being
smarter
discussed.
with embedded explainability and compliance by design.
Yeah.
And it's all available through the Genesys AI tokens, a flexible way to scale AI across your business. That's why best of breed in a best of suite really means not just powerful AI, but AI that is orchestrated, operational, and enterprise ready. And as you heard from ESPN, it was extremely important for them to have a trusted partner with AI built into the system. That's the power of one platform. And that's why some of the world's leading technology companies are partnering with us to pioneer a model where AI-powered real-time orchestration sits at the center of the enterprise. CX Cloud from Genesys and Salesforce bring customer context and journey data into a single workspace, enabling service and sales teams to act on one unified view. We have reached over 300
300
CX
joint
Cloud
customers. Is that
customers
what
as of
it's
Q2 with more than
Yep.
100,000 agents. Unified Xperence from Genesys and ServiceNow connects front, middle, and back office workflows so journeys don't break when handoffs happen. Remember last year, John Ball from ServiceNow and I showcased how in a post-CTI era, we connected front and back office through our native APIs. With agentic and A2A, we have advanced further together, redefining how Genesys AI experience orchestration integrates with back office agent-driven workflows. Let's see it in action.
Genesys Cloud virtual agents are trained in a particular skill to serve your customers expertly, using a variety of tools to work on their behalf. Tools like A2A protocol for autonomous AI agents to work together. This starts with ServiceNow. Genesys and ServiceNow have partnered to make their
that's
AI
John Ball
agents
talking.
collaborate to create entirely new ways of serving customers that are available all day, every day, for even complex needs. This virtual agent is serving the customer of an energy provider and begins by authenticating the customer. Once authenticated, the customer asks about their bill. Genesys Cloud knows the catalog of ServiceNow agents and requests.
I feel I need to issue a minor disclaimer here that agent-to-agent communications of this nature are very much a work in progress for anyone who isn't clear on that. This is the frontier. This is not like fully baked yet.
Genesys and ServiceNow agents collaborate again to discover new promotions. They offer to enroll the customer in AutoPay and the Renewable Energy Program. When the customer accepts both offers, Genesys Cloud orchestrates the enrollment procedure with ServiceNow. Goal-oriented, independently reasoning, adaptive, and conversational AI for the world's best customer experiences. This is the era of agentic by Genesys.
But the pressure's on for ServiceNow and Genesys to deliver on that since they showed it on stage, so we can look forward to their results.
We have Mike Silagi, Exinora Martinez.
Yeah, last year it was a much bigger deal because John Paul was actually on stage. On the show with us.
High fives all around.
Thank you, Olivier. And good morning, everyone. Good to see you here in Nashville. How's everybody doing? Good. As you just heard, it really is an exciting time to be in technology. And it's even more pivotal moment to be shaping the future with AI. Now that's why today I'm thrilled to share a deeper look into how our AI portfolio is delivering impact and driving outcomes through the 4 foundational pillars. Everybody should know them now: automation, augmentation, optimization, and personalization. Let's start with automation. Our agentic virtual agent is lowering the cost to serve while improving customer satisfaction and loyalty. They're intelligent and they're human-like. They're quickly evolving to handle more complex, more emotional, and more urgent situations. And they're designed to operate 24/7 by 365 across all customer channels, time zones, and languages. Now, powering this intelligence is Genesys AI Guides, which is available through our AI Studio. Now, AI Guides are composable building blocks that define how your virtual agent adapts and reasons and acts, written in plain language by your business teams. And using natural language, our guides can represent anything from a simple password reset flow to a benefits eligibility check, or even a multi-step claim submission process. Our guides are modular, they're governed, they're secure by design, and it's the perfect marriage of low-code simplicity and enterprise-grade control. Our virtual agents are quickly evolving. We're making them more measurable, more flexible, and more capable than ever before. Now, let me share a few of these capabilities that you'll see before the end of the year.
Some kind of humanity metrics for the
First, we're introducing a real-time KPI dashboard that's built right into Genesys,
so that it's just not about the numbers.
So you can see the value of your virtual
I don't even know how you do this, but
not in theory,
like there
but in live
be some kind of metrics for the empathy for the
we're making them more
part of what the agentic
with
agent
intent
is supposed to
switching.
do.
They can fluidly move in and out of tasks, intents, and articles, so that as customers drive the conversation, they're following along.
It seems like a lot of times sympathy's been defined so far as like if the bot kisses your ass or not, which isn't really empathy.
Even when knowledge lives in different
Like
places,
just
and
being
across
like
multiple
obsequious isn't like the same as empathy. Like, oh, you're right, kind sir, I was so wrong with my query or whatever. Like, that doesn't really help.
That's the kiss up metric.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
lastly, our virtual agents are meeting your customers on
One
their
really
own.
interesting
We're
thing, and
adding
I don't know if
Apple
this is a
Messages
metric
for
or not,
business,
is that
WhatsApp business,
one of the
and
advantages
even
of the
complex
agentic bots
multi-step
are
journey in
more
email.
sophisticated language comprehension. So instead of like
You put all of that
being
together,
the old
you have
bots
the
could only
next
recognize
generation
maybe
virtual
one
agents that are
keyword,
measurable,
whereas when you interact
adaptive,
with the agent, hopefully
omnichannel,
understands you better, even if
emotionally
you don't use
intelligent,
the exact same
deeply
language each
integrated
time.
with customer data.
And so that's a really interesting one. Did it actually understand what I was asking it, or did I have to like try to restate it a bunch of times?
The same
So
virtual
we'll
agent
see.
building blocks extend
Does
inward
the
into co-pilots
agent
that augment your
understand
workforce
the level of
with
empathy needed
guidance,
for this particular
insights, and automation at
situation,
their
whatever it is? I
fingertips.
mean,
Genesys Cloud
Well,
has AI
some of these
copilots,
bots can be trained on some level of sentiment analysis to try to gauge your mood a little bit. And I would argue that that might be part of the escalation thing too. Like when you can pick up on someone who's really angry or upset, like you might route their situation differently, whether it's take it to a human or try to give them some immediate resolution or something. So in some ways, agents can be better at that than humans, right? If you do it right, because if I call you and start yelling at you as a fellow human, you might take offense to that, right? Even if,
Yeah.
so in some ways, the bot, I think, can do better than the human in that context, but it has to understand, and there's no clear way of making it understand, but there's some level of sentiment that can be applied there that can try to guess your mood. You can get into a lot of trouble with that too, right? Because different people can have different facial expressions, for example, and that's why I'm really wary of using facial expression to gauge mood. I'm a little more open to doing that through language because I think it's a little easier to tell that through language than it is through people's facial expressions. I mean, God knows how many times I thought I pissed someone off by the look on their face and they weren't mad at me at all, so it's like, Amber's got another question, huh?
Yeah, well, let me post it up here. Well, platforms like okay, so she's on the bytecode be able to create AI agents automation smoothly without kinks or glitches, or will you need coders and tech departments as solopreneurs? Now, I think
work items.
we're getting a little bit of Wi-Fi.
So agents get guidance
But,
even on back office tasks.
I think A to A protocols and MCP kind
So
of
put it all
protocols.
together, and the Genesys Cloud agent
I don't know about you,
Copilot
but do you
becomes
think
more
a lot
than
of
productivity tool.
non-coders are
It's
going to
a
get too
compliance
heavily
coach.
using
It's a
these
knowledge
things?
guide. It's a multilingual translator. It's emotional intelligence.
So, Amber, I actually created my first agent at a show last spring,
Genesys,
and it
we
wasn't that
believe the
easy,
next
but
wave
I
of
think it's going to get
goes
easier.
beyond a swim lane.
But the thing
future
is, like,
about orchestrating
you would never
experience
release something
through
like that into the wild that John Reed
and human
made,
agents
like with
all
low-code
working together.
tools. So
The real challenge
I'm kind
and
of
the real
down on
opportunity
vibe
is
coding and
connecting
things
intent,
like that, or agent
context,
creation in terms of
humanity
like you could build
seamlessly
something for
across
production.
systems,
But I think what you
people, and
could
time.
do is you could empower
That's the
users
next
to build
evolution.
prototypes,
Multi-agent
which they could share with
coordination
other
and
business users, but
orchestration
also share
powered
with their
by
IT
Genesys
team
Cloud.
and say, what do you think of this
But
idea?
for AI
So
agents
I
who
think it can
truly
foster
reason,
collaboration,
act,
but as
and
far
collaborate
as like
across systems,
creating
teams,
agents
and
and automations
enterprise,
without kinks and
they
glitches,
need
I don't
more
think
than
you'd ever
intelligence.
release that into a
They
wild
need
without
common language,
rigorous
and that's where
testing and stuff like
standardized
that. So
protocols
that's
come in.
where people get a little carried
The model
away.
context protocol,
But I would say so
MCP,
far
is a
in this
universal
keynote, I
advantage
haven't
for
heard
AI.
people getting carried
It's an
away on
open
that
standard,
particular topic.
large language models,
Now,
a standard
I
way
think
to connect
enterprise,
with tools, with data, and
they
with
don't want a whole
systems
bunch of rogue
securely
people
and in real
coding
time.
things
No.
that'll end up getting
Instead
out.
of building
They'll
custom
have a
integrations
framework they
over
can
and
use,
over,
and that
MCP lets
framework will
AI
have some
instantly
security and some
access
privacy
what it needs
things
to
in
take
there.
action.
But as like a solopreneur,
The agent or the
I
A to A
mean,
protocol
I think
is another
most people are
critical
going to want to
standard.
stay,
No matter, it allows
maybe
AI
spend a lot of
agents,
their
no
effort
matter
and
their
time more on their
vendor
core
or their
business.
framework or their
And
architecture,
maybe
Right.
there's certain things
communicate
you can
and
do
and
like smaller
smoothly,
things that you
securely,
can do on
and
your
at
own.
scale.
But
Now with
I don't
A2A,
know. I don't
agents
think
can
you're going to see
discover
a
each
lot
other's
of
capabilities. They can
people
negotiate how to
trying to
interact.
spend enough
They
time
can
and effort to
coordinate
really
tasks, both
learn that
simple
to
and
be
complex,
comfortable enough about
and they can exchange
creating
rich
something that's going to be
all of
significant
this
in
with
terms of
enterprise-grade
representing your
security and
business,
interoperability.
because that's not really the core. I
And
mean,
these
you'll find
protocols,
something that can
they
help you
lay the
do that. I
foundation
think
of
that's probably
interoperability
going to
and
move away a
coordination.
lot of those folks.
But to truly transform connectivity
Yeah,
into
totally. I mean, I
capability,
think
you need to
solopreneurs
focus
can
on
certainly
how
build
intelligent
certain things, but you got to be really conscious that you could release something into the wild that could compromise people's data
of Genesys
or have
Cloud
security
agentic
holes that you
framework
don't
comes into play.
understand. And
AI
there's a
tools,
lot of serious
AI
security
skills,
issues with this
AI
technology, which, by the way, I think it would be good if Genesys brought that up at some point during the keynote.
concrete
They're there's a lot of holes in these tools, and you really need to have security expertise on your staff when you're releasing anything into the wild. But again, one thing I would like is if I were a solopreneur and I had an idea for an application for my customers, I could probably build it out a bit with a tool like that and then take it to a designer and say, here's what I have in mind. What do you think? Maybe take it to my business partners and then give it to that team. And then they might take the code, but they might modify the code and evaluate the code. And I really want a trusted person to do that. So I think it can be helpful, but I think it's overblown. And like you said, in an enterprise context, you simply can't have thousands of people building apps and releasing them. It just doesn't work.
Together tools,
So
exposing them through MCP skills.
But there's a place, you know.
Order capabilities, again, that LLMs can leverage.
Now we're getting into the weeds of MCP here.
Is the most powerful construct. The AI agent leverages large language models, the tools, the skills, the knowledge, the context, and it has memory to reason, plan, and execute toward outcomes. And our AI guide is the tool that you use in Genesys Cloud to define or create AI agents, as we call them, virtual agents. Now, our guide's technology is also the perfect mechanism to bring all of these assets together into an agentic virtual agent capable of this level of orchestration, a guide of guides, if you will. And the result is an agent that is capable of discovering and leveraging AI tools, AI skills, AI agents, and it's capable of both customer and
Uh-oh.
Yeah, looks like I don't know what's going on with the Wi-Fi here, but I might need to see if I need to move in the room or something, because let's see if it gets any better in here. No. Let's see. It looks like it's still
work. Intelligence doesn't stop there. To transform experiences, AI must also optimize every process and personalize every interaction. And that's exactly what the team at GM Financial has been working on. So let's hear from them.
GM Financial is the captive finance company for General Motors. No matter which channel customers use to get in touch, we expect their experience to be straightforward, thorough, painless. Over the years, we had accumulated several disparate systems. We needed to identify one best-in-class solution to modernize. We implemented the Genesys Cloud with digital-first, AI-driven experience orchestration. Within phone, email, chat, call summarization, and automated voicemail, we were able to move from 4 systems to 1. Our call containment rate tripled thanks to the new self-service options available to our customers. And it's greatly improved first contact resolution, shortened call handle times, and decreased after-call work. These improvements have led to a reduction in repeat call volume and allowed our advocates more time to address complex issues. As GM sales increase, the number of GM Financial customers increases as well, meaning our CX advocates support a higher call volume with the same amount of resources. With Genesys as a strategic platform, we are evaluating agentic AI solutions. Genesys is a true collaborator. The collaboration reflects our dedication to the customer and has allowed us to continue to maintain high NPS year over year. That's the heart of what we do.
Wow. 3x containment. That is impressive. Now I'm going to cover the last 2 AI pillars, personalization and optimization. Personalization is so much more than remembering a customer's last transaction. At Genesys, personalization is the ability to tailor every experience in real time with context, emotion, and intent. This is the key to agentic AI, because intelligence that can adapt in the moment isn't agentic, it's static.
Joining us right now is
How are we doing this?
Rebecca Wetterman.
Our unified customer profile is a living model that grows richer.
Are you here yet? Or?
Interaction.
Barely.
At first, it learns from the channels that we provide: voice, messaging, social. Every conversation adds.
Hello, Rebecca.
And as you connect systems like Salesforce,
How we doing?
ServiceNow, and Adobe,
Hello.
that profile gets sharper, adding segmentation, purchase history, and web behavior. More data means more understanding, and more understanding means every experience feels more personal. The segmentation and intent data is what fuels AI guides and AI skills to personalize every interaction. It allows AI agents to adapt responses, to trigger the right workflows, and to act with empathy in the moment. This makes personalization the connective tissue, what allows virtual agents to respond to issues seamlessly and co-pilots to guide in real time. Now, with Customer Profile, we are investing in new ways for Genesys AI to work in the background to unify records across all your channels, automatically resolving duplicates, filling gaps, and stitching fragments together. Our goal is very simple. Keep profiles accurate and complete without human agents having to stop in the middle of an interaction to do the work. And because your business runs on multiple systems, Genesys Cloud will synchronize updates across CRMs, CDPs, ERPs, and more. Genesys Profile is part of our Genesys Event Data Platform, a real-time event-driven data foundation. Think of it as the memory system for your customer experiences. It doesn't just capture a single interaction. It stitches events together across time, across channel, across the entire journey. Without that continuity, AI might sound smart in the moment, but it loses context, and that impacts trust and it impacts loyalty. With the Event Data Platform, every outcome, every emotion, every signal becomes part of that customer story. And because our AI is embedded with the data, it can adapt in real time, delivering experiences that feel intuitive and deeply personal. Today, we are extending that intelligence even further with the launch of the Genesys Data Lakehouse. In Lakehouse, we are going to flatten, normalize, and connect every signal from both sides of the interaction, the customer and the operation. That means that your supervisors don't just know what happened, they also know why. Supervisors, admins, and business analysts can now identify which of these virtual agents take longer and why, which segments are harder to serve, and detect patterns in tone or escalation triggers. With Data Lakehouse, you will be able to export this data into your ERP and into your BI systems, so making Genesys Intelligence part of your enterprise intelligence. And we've talked about automation, augmentation, and personalization, but none of these pillars reach their full potential without optimization. Optimization is about continuously improving the experience, not in hindsight, but in the moment. And for admins and supervisors, Genesys delivers something that no one else can. AI agents and experiences that are uniquely tailored for your employees so that they can surface insights, they can act, and they can visualize journeys. In a moment, you're going to see a demo of a couple of these AI agents that are working across the platform for supervisors and admins. One of these AI agents is Analytics Data Explorer. It works alongside your dashboards to reveal the story behind the numbers. Now, think about your current dashboards. They show you volumes and handle times and abandon rates, but oftentimes they don't explain the why. Analytics Data Explorer is conversational analytics. You can trigger it by asking questions, such as which virtual agents have the lowest containment and why. It can also be triggered through alerts and anomaly detections when something unusual is happening, or you can use some of the suggested questions. It will interpret trends, it will recommend actions, and it will even create an executive summary. Another AI agent is user management. With user management, you can use natural language to add, manage, or remove users. Now, we're planning to make these and many other AI agents available here in Q4. But optimization isn't just about explaining the numbers. You also need visibility into the experience across time and across all of your channels. This is where journey management is something so unique in the industry. Journey management lets you see trends across thousands, even millions of journeys. You can spot where customers are dropping out of a self-service journey, where they're escalating, or where there are emotional shifts that are driving some of those changes. When you identify a friction or a escalation point, you can deploy a new AI agent to address that. You can apply predictive routing, or you can just adjust knowledge in the moment. You can then use journey management to monitor the results. It's a closed loop of experimentation and improvements that gives your admins immediate ROI. Now, you've heard us talk about identifying and leveraging intent and how it's critical to AI because it enables real-time personalization. Just as important as intent is monitoring your customer and your business outcomes. That is why we're building mechanisms and architect to let you track outcomes, giving you visibility into not just what a customer wanted, but whether they've achieved it. Outcomes become the capstone of every journey. Sometimes they're explicit. A payment was collected, a form was completed, sometimes they're tagged. And with AI, they're inferred from patterns of delay, escalation, or abandonment. This is where third-party event ingestion is so critical. Signals from your CRM, CDPs, MarTech platforms can enrich the picture of what really happened. We are planning to deliver new capabilities in Q4 that are going to make it even easier for you to ingest those events into the platform, so you can unify signals from intent to outcome, no matter where it comes from. So with all of that, let me invite Brian Spencer to show you everything that you just heard today. Brian?
This will be interesting.
Thank you. In the agentic era, everybody will interact with Genesys Cloud in a more human way. Let me give you an example. I run customer experience for an energy company, and this is a training guide that I usually use to help onboard new customer service representatives. Well, I'm going to use that exact same training guide to build my virtual agent. All I've got to do is drag and drop it, and AI guides will generate that virtual agent from scratch, all for me. And the end result will be like this: a set of easy to understand instructions that tell our virtual agent what its persona is, what data it has access to, the guardrails of what it is allowed and not allowed to do, and access to all the information and tools at its disposal. So as you can see here, I have my instruction set that's been built by our generative AI. It's automatically identified key bits of information that a customer will have to provide in order to access services. It's embedded the tools to reach into strategic platforms such as Salesforce and ServiceNow, and it's embedded those A-to-A service catalogs of other agents outside the platform to be able to work autonomously on behalf of your customers. So let's see it in action. I'm a customer of the energy company. I've recently got my bill and it's a little higher than I'd like it to be, so I think I need to change plans. But you could see our virtual agent has already discovered that intent and is driving toward a different outcome, which is enrolling me in our new...
All right, I'm driving towards a different outcome because I got to go.
Like a lot of your customers, I like to go off script and not stay within the boundaries.
First, any thoughts? Because usually you don't have a 2.5 hour long
renewable energy sources are reliable because I work
if
from
it's going to
home
be
and
that
I have
long, that's
electronic
what do you
requirements
think?
from 9 to 5 every single day.
Because I think you're going to wrap in the next 10, 15, maybe. I'd have to guess.
That I threw at it, and using the
I
data on which
think,
our platform is running was able to give me as the customer.
So far, I thought it's been a pretty good presentation, but
without
it feels
having
like
to be
they're
pre-programmed within a structure.
trying to pack 10 pounds into like a 5-pound sack.
To have the confidence to continue moving forward,
Lots of good information,
having conversed naturally with this.
You can only do but so much, and
right back to driving from intent
2 hours is a little long nowadays to hold people in a.
Now, these virtual agents provide a tremendous customer experience. Well,
yeah, I think they covered a lot of good ground,
Yeah.
and I think it would have been interesting to hear Rebecca have some back and forth on some of our previous stuff, but timing is what it is. But but you start to reach sort of diminishing returns in keynotes, just in terms of the length and the complexity of the content, and they may be hitting that point. But I thought they had good pace for a good chunk of this. If I'm on the ground, I think I'm ready to go into sessions and kind of explore on my own.
Even better, Sonny, I wonder if they could have maybe taken the next level down and done it in mini keynotes or breakouts.
Yep.
And I think that's what Elsinora was talking about is really, really interesting. But boy, it sounds a lot like the good old days of predictive analytics to me.
You can drill down and see which
is kind of interesting given the profile of executives at Genesys.
Optimize your best practices discovered here in other
I think
customer experience journey.
Tony Bates was actually
Now, we've been talking a lot about how
he hit his mark and he did it in a pretty timely fashion.
Lose sight of the fact that you need to
Olivier was good. I mean, I think everything we've seen so far is good.
Your
I think,
customer experience staff,
like John was saying, you kind of start hitting the wall a little bit.
You can see down here on the bottom right, our supervisor Copilot eliminates the need for me
and now you're just starting the demo.
Read entire conversations. Instead, I have
like
an interaction summary that
like I would have liked to see this at a
goes through the
special keynote of its own, maybe, as opposed to being a part of the overall.
But most importantly, down
I'd be getting the landscape if I was
coachable moments where you
and I understand why this happens. You know, you get this list of things you really want your attendees to get, but I think you also have to think about energy and pacing, and what I think you wanted to do was send people charging out of here excited, and then they can go down to the show floor and go get a demo and go get into some of this deeper dive material, or bring them back for something later if you want. Or one thing I'm a big fan of is to do more of these deeper dives by industry, and so let people fan out and find an industry forum to get into some of this in. So I think there's different ways, and I'll just say that all vendors really struggle with this. It's not unique to Genesys. It's a industry-wide challenge and problem. But I really think you start by saying, how can we leave people energized and going to go fan out onto the show floor and kick some ass and learn what they want to learn? And that's what you run into with some of these keynotes, is you start to feel the energy leaving the room, see people checking their email inbox, and that's not what you're going for.
So it's simple for me to
John,
Having said that, it was a really good keynote.
I agree with you on that, and I recognize that I joined late for
customer experience representatives.
Obvious reasons, but I think it's always better to have a keynote where there's too much that you need to share and too much that you're excited about, rather than trying to create a keynote out of a bucket of nothing.
Neglect
right.
real-time operations within your customer experience center.
I do like, though,
our
some
admin
of
Copilot
these keynotes
takes me from using
where you see what
dashboards
the
and
stated
reports
time
to
for
a
the
much
keynote
more
is,
conversational
ends
way of
15 minutes
interacting
early,
with data and
and
user
it kind of makes you feel like, oh man, let's go out and see what, like let's go through some other stuff, as opposed to like,
unexpected
are they going to go through
agents today?
Because it's a long time out. Maybe it's because pre-pandemic it didn't seem that long, but it seems longer now. I don't know. That's some kind of psychological thing.
Problem with my program enrollment.
I really did enjoy the first hour and minutes, because it felt like it was moving briskly. It was covering a lot of the ground that you wanted to see. But then to get a demo after that, I think might take a little edge off the enthusiasm.
Success stories to replicate to improve performance, and I have immediate actions that are required. But the reality is, I know exactly what I need to do right now. I need to reallocate some of my staff. I have too many people waiting for billing questions that aren't coming through, and I need people to answer those program enrollment questions. So I'm going to tell the virtual agent to do that, and the virtual agent now will use the user management capabilities to apply the enrollment skill to my billing staff. I don't have to look up
enjoy your comments as well. Thank you.
Personally and individually reskill them instantaneously. The admin Copilot is taking care of reallocating my resources so we can address the problem at hand. Olivier, I've got agents to build experiences, to serve customers, to track the value of the customer experience journeys, to serve your supervisors, and to serve your admins. I've got an agent for everybody.
And we're good to see you.
Thank you so much, Brian.
And Brandon, Rebecca, I think I'm going to leave you here.
Well, it's time
all righty. Thanks for joining, man.
Yeah, man. It's always good to shoot the enterprise grid with you. So we had a good time, and we learned some things today. So thanks.
Hey, any last thoughts before you head out?
No, I think it'll be interesting to see how these shows play out. I mean, it's the sort of battle for how to show that you're at the center of the customer experience will continue all this fall, and it's going to be fun to watch.
And next
All right,
year,
man,
we're
catch you guys later.
the EU, Bahrain region, and Saudi Arabia.
All right, what do we got here going on?
We are scaling fast because wherever your customers are, we are right there with you. Oh, and by the way, I started with one question, so take a deep breath. Time to get the answer. Are you ready? And we are. Thank you.
All right.
Was that it?
We will now
I
be
guess
taking
so.
a 20-minute intermission.
Oh, wow. Okay, so they did finish it. All right.
It's funny because this was on my calendar. I don't know.
I had it from 9 to 11:30 too, and then I saw somewhere else it was 9 to 11. All right, well, I take a little of that because I was expecting, I was scared. So they did exactly what I was saying. They said 9 to 11, and they gave us like an additional 34 minutes. So I don't know, I know you just got here, so I don't know if you have a lot of impressions, but whatever you have, let us know.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously didn't catch the first part, and we'll have to go back to it. But again, I thought it was really interesting the way Elsinore was talking about enriching customer profiles. Sounded like a lot of core analytics work, which is great and important. Did they talk about the ServiceNow?
Yeah, they touched on that and the Salesforce piece too.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are really going to be important pieces for them moving forward and for customers too. As you think about sort of the overall orchestration picture. And I don't know how much Tony touched on this, but I think helping customers not just understand what orchestration means from the Genesys point of view, but helping them understand how they articulate it when their contact center or their CX manager is in the meeting with the head of sales who's saying, oh, we should be doing all of this with Salesforce, or the head of service who says, oh, we should be doing more of this with ServiceNow. Sort of explaining Genesys' secret sauce from an orchestration perspective and where it makes the most sense to use Genesys and leverage Genesys as a platform. I think it's going to be really important.
Yeah, I'm actually going to see if I can take a walk outside because we got these nice little rooms with a nice little balcony. All right, there we go. I think we're good. All right. So there you go. You're going outside. So while you're going outside.
Oh, I don't have a balcony. I just have windows.
Oh,
you got the schmancy room.
No, I thought I almost feel like I spoke too soon about it going too long because it ended way more fast than I thought it was. So I'm completely taking all that back. And I said, I think this is one more well executed opening keynotes that I've been to. And I think partially is because there's a lot of kind of a drumbeat into so much going on in the contact center space. We saw what happened with Vernt and Thoma Bravo and NICE acquiring, I can never say that word, that Cognigy or something like that.
Cognigy, yeah.
I always butcher it. And of course, the investment that Salesforce and ServiceNow put into Genesys. So there's just a lot of going on, a lot of focus, and it almost makes you wonder why does it take so long, because there's so much rich information coming from these contact center platforms, and how much AI needs that kind of data to actually provide really good stuff. And it just feels like now is the, I don't want to say the age of the contact center, but it feels like it's become even more important. And coming to an event like this and hearing that keynote and to hear their view, and it's not just something new. They've been talking about certain things like the 5 levels of AI orchestration last year, and you can see how they built upon that and how they're kind of moving that forward based on some of the things that were said in the keynote, it feels like it's not just companies saying things because everybody else is saying things. It feels like Genesys has literally been building up to this point for years now, and you can see a big potential payoff coming for a lot of their customers, particularly a lot of their customers that are joint customers between them and their partners like Salesforce and ServiceNow. So I thought this is a really good keynote, not just Tony, but Olivier and Mike Salaji, and their customer vignettes were really good too. I mean, they were all very quick hitters, but they were to the point and they covered the bases. And I just like the way that this whole thing was executed.
It's interesting, because I was with Vernt yesterday, and one of the things I was talking with Dan about is he said, the market, meaning Wall Street, didn't value or underappreciated what Vernt had to offer. And I said to him, do you think that was a Vernt problem, or do you think that was a CCaaS problem? And he said, it was more broadly a CCaaS problem. And I think if you look at kind of the stock prices and what's happened since COVID with a lot of these companies, I think that's true to a certain extent. But I think it's also a question of helping the market understand what you have to offer that's beyond the sort of traditional, I'm going to buy a certain number of seats of agents and go with it. And I think that Genesys has done a really good job first with transitioning to cloud, which it really did before the market needed it to do it. So it already understood it before a lot of its customers got there. But also thinking about the different pieces from a CX perspective beyond the sort of traditional contact center, between AI agents, between the pointlet stuff that we saw today with journey management and those kind of things that make it a more understandable value proposition.
Yeah.
And, as we think about, given what's going on with the stock market, it's not a great time for anybody to IPO. But from a portfolio perspective, from a due diligence perspective, from a valuation perspective, Genesys has put a lot of those pieces in place to set themselves up when it does make sense to do that.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of expectations I came in with, but I felt like this is gonna turn into one of the more important conferences of the year because of the focus on the data that's coming out of these contact centers and what can be done with them, because we all know AI needs not just a ton of data but a variety of data, and some of the interactions that are taking place in the contact center are critical to really understanding what's going on with customers and what kind of experiences they need and want. And if you don't have a good kind of pipeline of that kind of data, then what good is your AI? And so I think it feels like this finally there's the enterprises know that they have to do a better job of integrating with the contact center at the data level, but it's all about creating the experiences that you need that data for. And it feels like now everybody is signed up and ready to go.
Such an important point, Brent. And if you think about like 2 years ago, I can't think of any CCaaS vendor event that I went to where they mentioned whereas today the integration with CRM, I mean, Elsinore must have said it at least 10 times, right? The integrating with your CRM, integrating with your ERP, being able to bring that data together with the rich kind of customer experience data that you can now mine in the contact center.
Yeah.
Sort of bridging the gap or bringing those two together now seems really top of mind for what the CCaaS folks are thinking about, what customers are thinking about too, frankly.
Yeah. Anything kind of unexpected, interesting that took place for Vernt since you were there?
They continue to have sort of a steady stream of enhancements to their bots. It's interesting because they didn't have like the laundry list of like, here's 40 new bots that we're putting out, right? And when I was talking to Dave Singer about it, he said, we put out so many bots in such a short period of time that customers were having a tough time kind of figuring out, how do I prioritize? Which do I implement first? Do I do this one or that one? And so they've spent the last couple of quarters really on saying, we're going to enhance the bots that we have. Yeah, we'll put out a few more, but their focus really right now is on adding functionality to the existing ones so that customers have a clear path to getting more value.
Yeah, it's funny how I don't think we heard the term bot here, but it was all about virtual agents.
Yeah, I mean, and we all know Vernt's decided to die on that hill using the bot terminology for virtual agents. So hopefully customers have gotten their heads around that and understand that what they're getting from Vernt is more than what we think of as a traditional bot. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. So anything you're looking out for the rest of the day or two that you're here at this conference?
You know, I think it's learning more about the partnership with ServiceNow and the partnership with Salesforce, and I think that those are relationships that Genesys invested a lot in. You know, and there are lots of we love each other partnerships. the partnership on paper that never goes beyond sort of that initial first call deck.
Yeah.
And I think what we're seeing here, particularly with the deepening of the ServiceNow partnership, is yes, an investment by Genesys, but also a realization from both ServiceNow and Salesforce of what Genesys brings to the table in terms of technology, in terms of orchestration, in terms of data, but also in terms of thought leadership and thinking about where this is going in a blended sort of CRM CCAS.
It looks like we're having a little Wi-Fi issue there, so guess we probably need to cut this off because still a lot of stuff to go to. But and I think they even have another keynote. I don't know if we're doing anything around that, but
there's another one tomorrow, but I don't think it's
streamed,
recorded.
Oh, okay. So this might be it. But yeah, I think contact centers are definitely taking a more of a attention, and it's kind of funny because this data is all, you know, the interaction, the data has been there for a long time. It's not like it's anything new, but maybe because of the sharp attention on AI, now it's time to pay attention to the data that AI needs to actually do a lot more with, and have those experience more focus on what is coming out of the data of the interactions from the contact center with the customer. So I think it's a really good thing. I'm looking forward to seeing how it's built upon. Like you said, last year at this event, ServiceNow, I think John Ball was actually on stage here and talking about it. And it's really cool to see that it feels like they built upon what they did last year, get a chance to hear more about the future. But it definitely does feel like it's more meat on the bones of this partnership than some of the other ones you see in print, but you don't see much else. So.
Right. Exactly.
All right. Well, you rest up because I think you've been a busy morning trying to get set. And I will see you later. And thanks everybody for checking this out.
Thanks everybody.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Have a good day.